In his abstract, Anthony Colamati says, Camera Creatures addresses the new media landscape in which cameras, in most situations, outnumber pens. The dissertation argues that despite the accessibility and power of image-making devices, there persists in the humanities and social sciences a hesitation to engage in the possibilities for composing with optical media. In his first chapter, Colamati introduces us to the new prosthetic of the digital camera through Logitech's Photoman, the precursor to today's more sophisticated image capturing technology. This humble, even amusing predecessor to our iPhones, camcorders, and digital cameras heralded a wave of change in how we interact with light. Colamati examines the closed camera. He explains his light-tight view of the camera from three perspectives: the camera as a prosthetic or clone of human vision, the division between analog and digital with the threat of erasure of the old by the new, and a look at the preference of image texts over technique and practices. As a prosthetic or clone, the digital camera becomes our eyes. It is a surrogate for our vision, interacting with light for us, breaking down the real into bits of ones and zeros. Colamati explores our relationship to this technology through anthropomorphism and personification, extension and amputation. He wonders about the digital camera's effects upon us through comparison to Narcissus in his reflection. He is immobilized by the familiar but bizarrely foreign glint of life in his double's eyes. We are enthralled by the glitter and flash of today's digital imagery. There is a danger that we may be seduced into seeing ourselves exteriorized in the environment, amputated from our bodies. As we grow more dependent upon these prosthetics, the benefits may become too painful to bear. As with Freud's prosthetic jaw, used to replace the function he lost from the progression of cancer, our prosthetics may become for us the monster. Colamati believes that by claiming prosthetic technology constructs an undead enclosure, a narcissistic internal-external exchange loop between operator and apparatus. A new operator-apparatus relationship must be recognized and examined to determine what the new media's effects on previous capacities will be. This is not a recent thing. We have gone from bodily produced music to instruments, from instruments to digital synthesizers. In hearing, we've gone from the ear to the vinyl record, to the magnetic tape, to the digital CD, to MP3s and other file formats. In writing, we have gone from pen to the typewriter, to the word processor. In reading, we have gone from book to computer, to portable media device, tablets and smartphones. A continual progression from changed generation to changed reception. Each progressive step in what defines progress is up for debate, has a tendency to consume its predecessor. Colamati says he, Kittler, recognizes in digital technology the coming of fruition of an ambition that dates back to the earliest cave drawings. Optics now promises to disrupt the pervasive monopoly of writing, being the natural usurpers of the written word, in effect becoming more human. Crossing the analog-digital divide causes more than an ever-increasing resolution of resampling of a reality of blended perceptions, but affects the very manner in which our reality is perceived. The new generation is different than the old. Even though the old may immigrate, they exist as foreigners in the new world. This almost utopian idea of the digital media world is not universally held. The debate as to the promise and advantage of digital tools in education versus the perceived negative developmental toll upon the digital generation is ongoing. Colamati reiterates Carr's fear that converted analog material may be strip-mined by the passing netizen's fleeting attention, leaving us with a generation of superficial thinkers instead of minds that plumb the depths. In the immortal words of the divine Vita Bohème, the eternal question of style versus substance. The eternal question, however, is far more contentious than Vita's light commentary suggests. It is a war of ideals, an in-the-trenches battle between cultures. By moving further from an analog organic world, we move further from the profound, the unconcealed, and anchor ourselves even further in the mire of, as Heidegger describes, accountancy and calculation, in which things are measured by dividing, classifying, coding, and filing until everything protean is stable. Others contend, like Levon Spielman, that the abandonment of materiality into the realm of code and signal is liberating from restraint. What can be said is that the movement into digital media and the speed of communication has increased the ferocity of the argument. As our ability to transmit information increases, so does the ever faster coming to conflict. People are responding to input before taking the time to assimilate the information, to react before being rational. It is as if the fight or flight mechanism has moved from biology to digital. This shift in speed of access is said to reduce the attention span of the digital generation. Instead of taking time to digest experience, we wolf it down like fast food and move on to the next digital meal. This spectatoristic behavior is becoming more common as the digital world expands. Instead of being active builders, people are becoming tag-alongers. For the promise of digital to be achieved, we have to crack open the black box, let in some light, so that we are again part of the creation, not simply dependent upon the apparatus. Disclaimer: I generated none of the images used in this presentation. They have been used in accordance with the Fair Use Act as established by the U.S. trademark law. No assumption of copyright has been implied. This material is for educational use only. In accordance with Clemson University policy on plagiarism, I have included a list of all of my image sources and resources, written or otherwise. This is for use for the Clemson University RCID 805 class, fall semester 2012 by John J. Jacobs.